Hey kindergartners, my name is Mrs. Alseri, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a self-portrait. So your summer learning teachers have prepared a lesson for you where you are going to draw a self-portrait and include things that you like and dislike around the background. So I actually made this self-portrait a few years ago, and I wrote things about me around my self-portrait. So this is kind of the point of view we're looking at, is just a close-up of the head and neck, and we might include a little bit of the shoulders down there, maybe part of your t-shirt or your collar, and your hair. And then in the background, you will include your likes and dislikes. This is an oil painting with a lot of built-up layers and swirling. You can see there's a lot of feeling and emotion. When I look at this painting, I describe it as almost a thunderstorm happening in his imagination. So sometimes the background can help tell the story of what you want to say in your self-portrait. The other ones that I have picked, there's a couple more. Sorry, I just have a book here. At the top, Lucian Freud is another famous artist. He did this drawing, and I really like the texture and the pattern that he included. So sometimes clothing can really tell a lot about the person that you're drawing. In this case is you. And this one is by an artist named Henry Fuseli. To me, this one, he looks a little bit scared. So who knows what's going on in his mind when he drew this picture. And the last one I want to show you is another pencil drawing. This one is Rembrandt. Rembrandt was an artist during the Renaissance in Italy, and he's pretty much just kind of neutral. He's not really happy, sad. So sometimes artists, when they're posing for their self-portrait for themselves, they are pretty emotionless because they're really focused on getting like their facial features and their clothing right. So now that you have a little bit of a background on ways that artists draw self-portraits and some options that you have, we are going to just keep it simple. We're going to draw a head, neck, and shoulders, and then we're going to make the face and the hair, and that's going to be it for this video today. So the first part that we're going to start with is going to be the shape of the head. This is probably the trickiest part of the whole thing because most people think that they're just gonna draw it first one time and that's it. It's gonna be perfect and you don't have to try again. Now, does that sound like art to you, or do you think we need to try it quite a few times? So for this first part, I just want you to try your best, and even if you don't get exactly the shape you're looking for, that's okay, because we can flip your paper over and try again. So I'm going to draw this big egg shape. And mine's pretty big. As you can see, my camera barely shows it all, but that's so that I want you to really look at the shape. By the time I get to the bottom of my paper, I have a little bit of room. So now that I have my egg, which is going to take up pretty big part of your paper. We don't want little tiny self-portraits. We want you to be the focus. Now I'm gonna make a soup can shape for the neck. So one thing to remember about drawing a neck is it should be a little bit skinnier than the head, right? It supports the head. There's a lot of muscles in the neck, but you don't want it to be bigger. You want it to be a little bit skinnier, and the same on both sides. And if you want, you can kind of finish it off just like that. So do you see what shape that is? It's like a cylinder. That's why I call it the soup can. So now I have the head and the neck. If you are feeling fancy and you're comfortable, you can make two sweeping lines. They kind of go down like a slide from the neck to the edge of your paper. Let's do the other side. Again, it's important to try your best to keep this as close as you can, the same on both sides. That's okay, I made a little mistake. I'll come back to it and I'll kind of lift that line. See, I make mistakes too, but that's good enough for now. So the next thing that we're gonna focus on is the face. So right now I have this big eye, I have this big egg, and I have a soup can, and I have 2 sweeping lines that go down like a slide. That is the first part. Once you get that, you're pretty much set to rock and roll for the rest. Another thing to think about when we start making eyes, nose, and a mouth, I want you to look in a mirror when you do this and think about where your eyes are on your head. When we're in class, I always tell my students to like pull their hair and their bangs back and look at each other. Your forehead is actually pretty big when you think about moving your hair. And so what I teach my older students, usually by like 3rd grade, your eyes are actually halfway down on your head. So you might be tempted to put them like up here. But when I teach, I always tell my students there's an imaginary line halfway down on your head. That's really where both of your eyes should sit. So I'm not gonna have you draw the line today. I don't wanna get too complicated, but if you wanna just imagine if the top and bottom was split right in half, kind of that's right where your eyes would be. So the reason is because, I'm gonna erase that because I don't need it right now. The reason is because we're thinking about the forehead, and your hairline is going to cover up a lot of that. And to be honest, I made my head pretty big, so I'm probably gonna use a lot of hair to cover that. So I'm gonna put my eyes right about there. Don't worry if the forehead looks huge. So when I draw eyes, I think about a football shape or a lemon. Do something like that. And then I'm gonna make another one over here. Again, draw light. If you make a mistake, or like most people when they draw the eyes the first time, maybe one will be over here, one will be really small. It's really hard to get them the same size. So just keep practicing if you want on the back of your paper until you're happy. And I'm gonna do a simple kindergarten eye. What I like to do is then I can't stop saying it, I'm gonna do the eyelid. Gotta make an eyelid or you're gonna look like a deer in headlights. And then I'm gonna make 2 marbles right underneath that eyelid. Okay, what am I missing, guys? That little black circle in the middle, I'm gonna just color mine in with my pencil. That's called your pupil, right? That's what filters light in and out of your eyes. It's an important part. Okay, so now my eyes are kind of looking off to this direction. If you make the pupil and the iris directly in the middle, then your eyes will look like it's looking right back at you. Most people like to do it that way. So you just gotta kind of keep working on it till you're happy. So now if I have any mistakes, I can fix it, but for right now, for the sake of time, we're just gonna move on. If you want, you can make little tiny letter U's for eyelashes. We don't need SpongeBob SquarePants giant black rectangles on here. Just some little eyelashes if you want. A lot of people don't even draw them. Here, we'll zoom in. And to be honest, eyes are my favorite part. I feel like they tell a lot about a person. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom back out. Now to finish up the eye, I'm just gonna do, the brow is just gonna be like a big rainbow. Your eyebrows, if you look in a mirror, they're always gonna be longer than the eye. So what I do is I draw like a rainbow and then I make almost like an upside down check mark. And then that is filled in with the same color as your hair usually. That one I did a little skinnier, but like I said, for the sake of time, I'll come back and I'll fix all the little parts. Okay, moving right along. So now we don't just have this alien, we have what's looking to be more like a person. So I'm gonna go kind of quick here because I don't wanna go over my time, But for noses, your nose is between your eyes and your chin, right? Yep. So I like to, with my older students, I'll also make a line going across halfway between my eyes and my chin. We're just gonna kind of go, we're gonna guess it. We're gonna kind of put our finger right where we think the middle is. And I am going to just draw a little upside down rainbow, smiley face. That's pretty good for kindergarten. If you wanted to, some kindergartners I teach, I'll draw one over here. I'll just do like the little side nose. You can do a smaller little bump like that. So I'm just gonna keep it simple. I would not do a triangle because it just tends to look kind of jack-o'-lantern-y. So we're gonna start with that, and if we wanted to add to it, we can later. All right, last part for the facial features. The mouth. What are you feeling in this? Are you happy, sad, kind of Are you focused and really thinking hard like some of the artists that we saw? So I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna do a little smile. Because I'm pretty happy. I'm making art with you guys, so if I want, I can put some dimples on there. That's a really simple, easy smile. If you wanted to, I'll come over here. We can do like the banana shape, I like to call it. That's like an open smile. I don't usually draw teeth because teeth are pretty tricky. And when you look at somebody, you don't just see their teeth right away. So in my art, I kind of keep it, if it's an open smile, I don't really draw teeth. You don't really need to. And there we have it, our eyes, nose, and mouth. For this last part, I'm actually gonna make the ears before I do the hair, because what you're gonna notice is once you have the ears in place, you'll kind of be able to figure out exactly where your hairline should go, and then the hair goes around your head. So for ears, if you look in a mirror, you're gonna notice that the size of your ears is actually the length from your eyebrow down to the bottom of your nose. It looks really big, but you gotta trust me on this. So once I do it on one side, look at it, if I drew a line, like there's my eyebrow, there's my nose. I even made it a little bit shorter, but it's, you know, close enough. Then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And we don't want like big ears that stick out all the way on the side of our heads. Could actually fix that, make it a little shorter. We want, to be pretty skinny, like parentheses, because when you look at someone front on, you don't just see their ears. Often your hair covers it too. So keep the ears pretty simple and don't make them too big. Okay, so I just draw something like that. That's fine for this type of portrait. The last part is your hairline. We're almost there. We're in the home stretch. I really want you to look in a mirror again before you do the hair, or you can have a mirror right next to you while you're drawing, which is what I do. I have like curly hair and it's pretty long, and I part it on the side. So when I do self-portraits, I'll often just like start with a line a little bit below the very top of the head. Remember, I made a big forehead, so I can cover it with a lot of hair. I'm gonna just start with my part, which I do a little off to the side, and I'm gonna make it go a little bit like below the ear. If you look in the mirror, you'll see where your hairline stops at the ear. And then your hair actually goes like above and over that top of the head. So if you want, you can just like, I'm gonna use wavy lines. My hair goes past my shoulders. So I'm just gonna do the outline. That's what we're gonna do today. Then I'm gonna take the other side, and I'm gonna have a nose and a smile in my hair. I will erase that. And so I did hair just real quick, simple, covered the top of the head, made a little hairline, 2 curvy lines that go all the way down to my shoulders. So you'll have to decide how long your hair is. Maybe you got a short haircut for summer and your hair only goes like below your chin. So you will have to figure out how to draw that shape.